Okay.
Right, so this session is recorded for you to play back in the future. The other thing I'd like to highlight to you is the complete pre-recorded materials have been posted on the announcement board. Please make sure that you access them, because in this session, what I'm going to do is, look, I'm not going to present all slides to you. Trust me, that you will need to stay with me until midnight. Okay, so I just want to highlight to you the key concepts, especially those who are relevant to your assessment 3 in particular. Okay. All right, first of all, this topic is about price. Okay. Price is actually, look, there are two perspectives in terms of defining price. Okay, first, from narrow perspective, price is defined as the amount of money charged to customers. Okay, the amount of money that we charge for customers. Okay, from broad perspective, we take it from the customer perspective. Okay, where price is actually defined as the amount of money that customers are willingly to pay. Okay, to acquire the benefits of a product or service. Okay, my recommendation for you is to look at the second one, where it takes the customer perspective in terms of defining price. Right, rather than just amount of money charged for customers. The problem with the narrow perspective is basically we kind of, as a marketer, we kind of a dictator. We just charge. We create the product, okay, and then we charge them any price, any amount that we want. In fact, that is not correct, because the customers also have their own opinion whether it is worth it or not for them to pay for. If they don't think it is worth, then they're not going to pay for it. Okay, although brand is quite strong, we have a strong brand in the market, we have strong perceived quality, strong brand equity, and so on and so forth. The customers may say, hang on a second, it is a ripoff. I'm not going to pay for it. Okay, so please bear that in mind, that it reflects what the customers are willingly to pay to acquire the benefit of a product or service. Okay. Right, now actually marketers look at price as the opportunity to get revenue. Right, now these are the things I'd like to I would also like to discuss with you in the beginning. There are two key features of price that you cannot find in the other marketing mix variables. Okay, so these features are unique for price, right? If we compare to with the other marketing mix variables, okay? Price, the only marketing mix variables that helps us generating revenue, okay, and eventually profit, because we expect the revenue exceeds the cost, or the price exceeds the cost. Okay, the other marketing mix variables like product placement or promotion, they mean cost to the business. Okay, you develop a product, that means cost to the business. You hire a packaging designer, you hire R&D team, that means cost to the business. Okay, you develop these distribution strategies, you talk to your distributors, they will talk about margin. Okay, so that means cost. Right, the same thing for promotional activities. Okay, the second key feature, which is quite unique for price, is it is relatively easy to adjust. Okay, the other marketing mix variables are not that easy to adjust. If you want to adjust your product, then you need to do some research. You need to brief the packaging designer. You need to brief your manufacturing team. You need to brief your R&D team, and so on and so forth. Right? And in the case of price, the companies would normally have policies that allows you to adjust the price. Okay, and you may find that if you have a brochure of JB Hi-Fi's competitor, for instance, and you want to buy a specific product, you bring the competitor's brochure, you talk to this electronic store, you can say, hey, look, mate, you're so expensive. This guy sells very cheap. Okay, hang on a second, let me talk to my store manager. okay? And they come back to you with normally positive news, all right, we'll match that for you, okay? And you have heard that quite a lot, okay? So that's an example that that's an evidence that price is actually easy to adjust, relatively speaking, okay? Okay. Now, the other thing I'd like to discuss in terms of price is basically the the variables that that marketers need to consider when it comes to making price decision. Okay, here we have a number of variables in here. Okay, if you look at that, we can actually group them into three groups in terms of variables affecting variables that marketers consider when it comes to pricing decision. Okay, the first one is price floor. Okay, which is basically costs. Okay, so these guys here. Okay. The costs, okay? We call them as the price floor. Why is that? Because we can't sell below costs. It is we are actually at the floor already, okay? And the second one is actually what we call as the price ceiling, okay? That reflects the value or the perception that customers have around our product or brand. Okay, so that's the that's what we call as the price ceiling. Okay, these guys here. Okay, so the other two main ones. Okay, so we can't sell higher than the price ceiling. We can't sell higher than the customer's perception. Okay, than the value that the customers perceive about our brand or our product or service. Okay, because if we sell it higher, the customers will think it is a ripoff, again, as we discussed before, right? And in between, we have the other factors, okay? We have the other factors. We have the other factors that includes the external factors, okay? The like demand of the product, okay? The economic factors, right? The organizational marketing objectives or strategic objective, right, of the product that are related to the price, okay? The other marketing mix variables such as the product itself, the placements, the promotions, and so on and so forth, right? So they are the other variables, okay? All right, so that's they are basically the factors affecting the pricing decision, okay? Look, in the olden days, price was a kind of addendum to marketing strategy, okay, to a marketing strategy, right? So when marketers write a marketing plan, price has normally been determined by the company's policy. Yeah, we want to charge that much, okay? But we now understand, both academic team and also the marketing practitioners are aware that price also contributes to the value creation, okay, in the consumer's mind. Therefore, we design it carefully, all right? We think about it carefully because there's a connection between price and value that we create in the consumer's mind, okay? Right, now let's look at it briefly, okay? The objectives, okay? So price should be consistent with the mission, vision, goals of the organizations, okay? Should be compatible with the marketing objectives as well, okay? So if we have, let's say, here we are saying if we are aiming at increasing market share, then we need to consider setting the price lower compared with competing brands, for instance. Okay, so that's one of the things that we do in terms of from pricing objective. Okay, perspective, and we can also consider temporary price reductions or price promotion, basically. Okay. Right, and the other marketing variables that also need to be considered. Okay, what the product is offering for the customers. Okay, and the placements that we select, whether it is going to be premium, exclusive type of placements or distribution strategies. Okay, or mass market type of distribution strategies. So that will determine us. That will help us to understand the pricing strategy, okay, to ensure that it fits into the entire market mix variables, okay. Again, the interpretation, the value that the customers will perceive, Right? Okay, now we also talk about demand affecting the price. Look, this is actually assuming the other variables are constant. So it is a ceteris paribus. Broadly speaking, products would normally expect demand curve will, demand curve is downward sloping. Okay, what it means is basically if the price high, the customers will buy less, will buy a little quantity. In fact, if it is too high, the customers may not buy anything. Okay, and if we drop the price, then the customers will buy more. Okay, but we also understand that demand may shift to the right or may shift to the left. Okay, if you look at that. Demand in this instance shift to the right, demand 1 to demand 2. Okay, what it means is basically the volume or the quantity demanded by the customers is increasing at the same price point. Okay, so if you look at that, it is actually helping us to understand this is the volume that we sell at this price P. But if the demand is shifting to the right, volume it will be going up to quantity 2. Okay. Now, demand shift to the right or demand shift to the left is actually driven by non-price factors. Okay. If it is shifting to the left, that means we are decreasing the demand at the same price point. Okay. So here is the new demand with that price point. Okay, but the main point in here is basically can demand change or can demand shift? Yes, it can. Okay, and it is driven by non-price factors such as lifestyle of the customers. Okay, consumer lifestyle, for instance. Okay, so if we look at the chocolate bar industry, for instance, okay, or sugary products, for instance, okay, with the growing health concerns, consumers may at the same price point, consumers may buy less. Okay, may consume less. Okay, and then if someone finds the health benefit of certain product like dark chocolate, for instance, then demand may shift to the right. Okay, so that is non-price factor. Okay, so broadly speaking, that's the demand curve, right? That affects the decision on price. Okay, in saying that, some product may be more elastic rather than the other products, such as petrol, for instance, which is inelastic. Okay, that affects the pricing policies of a company. Okay, if they are inelastic, then they just need if they take the price up, they are going to lose a little bit volume, but overall they are going to make a larger revenue. Okay, right. So that's basically pricing the factors affecting pricing decision. Okay. Now, look, I'm not going to discuss that. Okay. And the other thing that I'd like to discuss with you is the pricing strategies. Okay. Please also go through the pricing objectives, various pricing objectives, and the possible actions. Okay. Let me just go back. Okay. Basically, there are three options of pricing strategies. Okay. The first one is cost-based. Okay, where we look at the cost of making the product, and then we look at the certain markup on top of that. Okay, so we add certain value on top of that, so we'll get the cost-based pricing. Okay, so if you think about any product, okay, you can look at how much is that? Okay, look at the packaging, look at the ingredient, look at the labor cost, look at the other costs. Okay, let's say per unit, our cost is $1, right? And then we top up with the certain markup. The second one is value-based pricing, which is basically based on what the customers perceive on the product. Okay, how much would customers be willingly to pay for that product? Okay. Now, these two are interesting, okay? These two pricing strategies are basically the opposite one to another, okay? So, if you look at the cost base, okay, the one up here, we actually start with the product, okay? We actually start with the product, how we will make the product, and we talk to the suppliers to get the costs, okay? And then we top up with certain level of markup, and we communicate to the customers, convince the customers that it is worth it that much. It is worth that much. Okay, so pretty much inward looking, if you like. Okay, so you start with the product. Okay, now the second one here is different. The value base starts with the customers. Okay, starts with the customers. Okay, how much would customer value for a certain product concept? Okay, if the customer say, well, with that kind of benefit of the product in the product concept, I would pay roughly $4.50 maximum, for instance. Okay, or somewhere between $3 to $4.50, for instance. Okay, then we go away and we work it out in terms of designing the product, okay, briefing the suppliers, and so on and so forth to deliver the product that meets the customer's value perception. Okay. The third one is actually about competition-based pricing. So we look at the competitors. Okay, how much do they charge, and then that will affect our decision. Okay. There are three options in here in terms of deciding it. We may take a lot higher price than competition if we are confident that our product is more superior than the competitor's price. Okay, and my recommendation is for you to also look at whether the customers can tell that your product is superior. Okay, so that you can command higher price. Okay, that includes the emotional benefit like the brand, and also the functional benefits. Okay, now the second option is you charge a lower price than the competition. Okay, if your quality doesn't match the competition, or if you try to actually steal the customers from the competitors. Okay, the other one is basically to match the competition. Okay, so equal to the competition. Okay, all right. Now there are several options here, right? So for you guys, in terms of your assessments, at least you look at these options: cost-based, value-based, and competition-based. All right. Please also pick up another one from here. All right. If you're analyzing new product pricing, then you analyze whether you adopt price skimming pricing strategy or price penetration pricing strategy. Okay, now let's have a look at it briefly. Okay, this is differential pricing strategies. Okay, so we have two types of pricing strategies: either negotiated pricing or secondary market pricing. By the way, I recommend you to work on not a B2B market, because it may be more challenging rather than consumer market. Okay. Now this is the new product pricing strategies, where we have two options: price skimming or price penetration. Price skimming is actually charge high price. Okay, the highest possible price. Okay, so we are going to make higher margin per unit, but we are going to make less volume. Okay, so that's price skimming. With price skimming, we actually open the opportunities for competitors to come in, because competitors will have a bit of room to come to the industry, especially if they look at the price is high. The industry should be interesting. Okay. The second one is penetration pricing. Okay. In regards to penetration pricing, we actually set the price low. Of course, we still make margin, right? So margin per unit will be low, but we are going to make the overall profit because we are going to sell more. Okay, and we have large volume. All right. So if you do that, you're actually trying to, if you launch new product and it is a new category that you built in that industry, okay, and you adopt the price penetration pricing strategy, you actually try to preempt the competitors from coming into the industry. Okay. We also have different pricing strategies as well. So pick another one, guys, from here. Okay, either captive pricing, premium pricing, bait pricing, or price lining. Okay, so there are some product line pricing that marketers can also select. Okay, just briefly, captive pricing is actually setting. We have main product and also accessories, and with captive pricing, we normally charge the price of the main product low because we expect to get the volume and profit from the accessories. Okay, so you may find that the price of the printer, you know, $30 we can get a printer, $50 we can get a printer, but they expect us to give more business from the accessories, like the consumers, the consumable parts such as the toners or the cartridges. Okay, premium pricing, we charge highest price possible. Okay, and so on and so forth. Psychological pricing is another one. Reference pricing, we place the product next to a more expensive product, and that will give the customers some references. Okay, now reference pricing works better if the customers have little experience about buying that kind of product category, so they are going to look at price. Okay, because they don't have any other knowledge. Okay, so ask yourself, if you don't have experience in, let's say, negotiating the price with the solicitor, and you want to find a solicitor or a lawyer. Okay, so the price will tell you. Okay, one of them will, let's say you talk to one lawyer, they charge $250 an hour, the other lawyers charge $1,200 for instance, then you may have a perception that, okay, the other guy may be more quality, for instance, may have more higher quality. Okay, bundle pricing is another one, so we package one or two, more than one unit in one price. Okay, so if you look at Telstra, for instance, or Vodafone, or Optus, for instance, they may offer us 2 free services in one price. Okay, well, marketers normally aim at you know, creating the image of being available. See, you only pay that much. If you buy them separately, you're going to pay a lot more. Okay, and at the same time, they actually try to preempt you from buying their competitors' products or services. Okay. Okay, so psychological pricing also has a number of options here, like odd-even pricing. Okay, you may recall that if you go to Woolies and Coles, you may find a product $2.99, $4.99. Okay, something like that. Okay, odd-even pricing. Okay, so which is basically about the creating the illusion or perception that the price is affordable for customers. Okay. Okay, so you can pick any. Pick. For your assessment, pick one major pricing strategies. Okay, you can go back to the previous one here. Oh, sorry, too far. That one. Okay, that's the major pricing strategy, either cost-based, value-based, or competition-based. Okay, and pick another one from anything in here. Right, the psychological pricing, or new product pricing if it is new product, or product line pricing, probably somewhere between psychological pricing, product line pricing, differential pricing, and price discounting. Okay, so that's basically the main points about price. Any questions, guys?
No, all good.
All good? Okay.
Yeah.
Brilliant. How about you, Lisa?
I'm all good, thank you.
Okay, cool. All right, I'm going to continue with the next topic, the placement decision. Okay, and I'm going to discuss with you the main concepts about placements that you need to understand. Yeah. Okay. Placement is actually where the customers reflect where the customers can access our products or services. Okay, guys, I just changed my PowerPoint presentation slides. Can you see it?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, brilliant. Okay, there are two concepts I'd like you to understand for this one. Okay, for placements. Okay, the first one is channel strategy. Okay, that's the first one. Okay, channel strategy is actually the decision in terms of number of marketing channels. Okay, so what do I mean by that? Okay, now let's look at it. Okay, in the traditional model, we have the manufacturer, and in as the manufacturer, we may ship the product to the wholesaler, and then wholesalers ship the product to the retailers until final consumers, right? End consumers. Okay. Now, if you look at that, that actually tells us number of marketing channel. That's or number of layers, number of level of marketing channels. Okay. So in other words, channel strategy deals with the number of with the number of levels of marketing channels. Okay. Now, broadly speaking, there are two types of marketing channel strategy. Okay. The first one is what they call as direct, where we the companies that adopt this will basically be the company that adopt this channel strategy basically deals with the customers directly. Okay, so the manufacturer will deal directly with the final consumers. Okay, they normally adopt the e-marketing strategy or direct marketing strategy. Okay, the second one is actually what we call as indirect. Okay, indirect channel strategy. Okay, now the guys that adopt indirect channel strategy actually adopts certain level of channel. Okay, so they adopt the the middleman. Okay, the marketing channels, companies, right? The middleman. Okay, they adopt the middleman, right? Like the one I show here. Okay, these guys actually adopt the middleman. Okay, and in between we have a company that adopt both of them. Okay, direct and indirect. Okay, so we call it as hybrid, and some other authors split the term hybrid and multi-channel strategy. Okay, based on whether the target market is the same or not. Okay, if they are adopting different target market, then it is the multi-channel strategy. If they are still the same target market, just direct and indirect, then it is the hybrid channel strategy. Okay, so that's the first thing I'd like to discuss with you. Okay, the next thing I'd like to discuss with you is the distribution coverage strategy. Okay, distribution coverage strategy actually deals with the number of resellers. Okay, or in other words, let's say number of outlets. Okay, so we have three types of strategies in here. Okay. Oh, sorry, not a straight line. I may not be able to be an architect, guys. Okay. So if we draw a straight line like this, okay, on one end we have what we call as intensive distribution strategy. On the other end we have exclusive distribution strategy. Okay, exclusive, and in between we have selective distribution strategy. Okay. All right, guys. I still have. There are 7 minutes left, and can I suggest that we finish this session and we come back to this meeting room by clicking the same link? Okay. I just want to finish this. I don't think it will take long, but I'm afraid it will be cut off in the middle. Yeah, is that okay?
Yeah, no worries.
All right, cool. I'll see you. Give me 2-3 minutes. I'll be back by clicking the same link. Okay. Right.
Okay.
Yes.